Welcome to the Too Busy to Eat show. I'm Greg Zaffalato, the host of the show and also the founder of Too Busy to Eat, the protein bar company. So before we get to our guest, I want to encourage you to go to toobusytoeat.com and try our protein bars. You can use a coupon code TBTE show and get 20% off your first order. They're awesome. They're really high quality, grass-fed whey protein, really healthy ingredients, very simple. Simple, tasty, and good for you. Now, today, we have Katy Allan on the show. She's from SavoringTheFlavoring.com. SavoringTheFlavoring.com. Great Southern girl. She's so fun. She's so fun to interview. She's making things simple by really encouraging you to cook your own food, cook at home. But she's fantastic. I really recommend going to SavoringTheFlavoring.com and let's get to the interview because she'll tell you all of it. Well, welcome, Katy. I'm so excited to have you on the show. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. And like I mentioned before, now I'm going to be starving the whole interview because looking at your Instagram, it's so amazing. And your website, Savoring the Flavoring, it's just, it's making me drool a little bit. It was nice.
Thank you. That's the whole point, right?
That's right. Yes. Yes. No, I love what you do. I have the privilege of, getting into the backgrounds of the people I interview, and it's really fun learning about you and what you do. So why don't you just give us a quick intro of, how you got where you are today with the blog. I know you had a background with your mom was a dietitian and all that, how it led you to, influencing and helping people with nutrition today.
Great question. So as you said, as long as I can remember, since I was a kid, my mom was a dietitian. So I grew up going to her appointments with her, sitting in her office, underneath her desk, literally while she would be consulting with me. There might be laws against that. I don't know, but I did it. Yeah. And so I was always really interested in, what she was saying. Right. And she obviously always, taught us, do eat this, don't eat that kind of stuff. Yeah. But luckily she was never crazy about it. She was never like, absolutely never have this or that. So I really grew up with a really good relationship with food. Yes. I knew that really overall food is fuel and that it's supposed to nourish you and so every chance you get, you should have nourishment with every meal. But also, I just love eating. So I'm not a person who will just toss some lettuce in a bowl and just be like, okay, that's it. I love the whole thing. Yeah. So as I've kind of grown up, it's served me well. I've never had to really worry about, weight or anything like that. Other than after having babies, maybe the baby weight. But so, I would just kind of have people, friends, oh, you need to help me, figure out what to cook, or you need to tell me what to eat because I don't know, I need to lose baby weight, or I want to lose whatever. So I'm not a doctor. I'm not a dietitian. Right. I call myself to my husband a dietitian by proxy. Because, because, my mom. Yeah. But I have throughout the years done a ton of research. I do a ton of reading. Yes. I consult my mother still on on new diets that come out or whatever. And then actually after I had my first son, I took it up a notch. Because he, at about 5 months, was diagnosed with some autoimmune stuff. Okay. So after that, I just kind of, mama bear, just really dug in. And that's when I kind of went more to everything's organic, everything's all natural. Yeah. And so that's kind of... And
make it really clean. And then, so that kind of leads into the blog, and it started, you were just getting information out to people and more. I mean, obviously there's a lot of people that you influence now, but how did it birth? How did it start?
So how did it birth? Yeah. So I, by trade, I'm a writer, what my schooling was in. I've always been a writer my whole life. So, it was kind of just a way, like I said, I would have friends who would ask me for recipes or ask me this or that.
Right.
And, I'd had my kids. I wasn't working full time anymore, but you still have that. You're like, I want to write. I need to get something out. Well, so I was like, okay, well, this would be a good, I when I first did my first blog, which is, I don't do it anymore. It was just all kind of stories about my son. It was just a total nightmare.
Right.
And I would kind of start putting recipes in there. And then from there, I was kind of like, when I started this one, I said, well, why don't I marry the two? And so that's now kind of what I do. It's all stories about my kids, my husband, my family, myself, and married with the recipes.
Right. So, and how it all works.
Yeah. So it started out as that. And then I've been really lucky to kind of just gain a following on social media, whether they just want to kind of like come and just like be like, or just kind of like look at food porn or they are interested in kind of eating better.
Right.
They're awesome. Like they're all so great.
That's wonderful. I mean, and it's you have a lot of interaction because there's a lot of people that want what you have, in a sense that they want healthy food and they want to eat well. For the majority, a lot of people do, but they just don't know how to do it. And you lay it out for everybody.
Yeah. And I want it to be, your thing is too busy to eat. So that's big for me too. I have 3 kids.
Right.
They're all crazy and busy, and they're boys.
So 3 boys, right? It's a lot of energy,
constant, all over the place,
and they eat a lot. I'm sure, and they whip more and more.
My husband's always like, "Why is our grocery bill like twice as much as it was a year ago?" Because they eat a lot.
They're twice as big.
But so part of my thing is I don't, here and there, if I'm doing like cinnamon rolls for Christmas Eve or something, that's going to take a while. But for the most part, I don't have time to be like cooking all day long.
Yes, right.
To get dinner on the table. Yeah. So it is important to me that it's something that you can kind of toss it together, put it in the oven, go do something else, come back. It's, I try to make it approachable.
Is that the big key for the success you have with food preparation, healthy eating is that, that having a good plan going into it, or the good preparation?
Absolutely. Yes. That is the number one thing for me with being able to stay the course and just kind of make it a lifestyle, not just something that you're like, I'm doing this for 2 months before we go to the Bahamas. It's lifestyle. You have to plan and you have to make it a priority. That doesn't mean you have to spend hours and hours a day on it, but say, most people, it's Monday through Friday, they're working, and then Saturday, Sunday, they have off. Make one of those days your day where you do your groceries, where you do some of your meal prep, whether it's like going ahead and chopping up your veggies that you're going to use for the week. Or one thing that I do that my husband really likes is I go ahead and prep all the fruit. Like even if it's just putting a thing of berries into like a little mini colander and going ahead and rinsing them and keeping them in the fridge. And when he opens the fridge, it's like, oh, berries. You can just
berries.
It's easy. Yes. And it took me 2 seconds, but it's something where maybe it would have been a deterrent for him if he just opened up the fridge and just was like, the berries are in the carton. I have to rinse them. Like, I'm not going to do it. So
grab something packaged off the shelf instead.
Just doing those little tiny things on your day off to just prep ahead for when that on that random Wednesday or something, you're gonna be like, just out of your mind if you don't have it prepped. That's huge, and keeping track of a grocery list and planning out your meals for the week. And it doesn't have to be super rigid, like Monday is this and Tuesday is this.
Right.
But maybe just like, I always have like 3 or 4 meals.
Okay.
And I know for sure I'm going to have everything on hand to meet for those. And maybe like, Monday night, I'll roast some carrots with that dinner. And then I can use those for lunch on Tuesday and Wednesday too. Things like that. Just planning ahead. And I keep a log too I have this thing called a Fit book.
Right. Yeah.
And so I there's a page at the beginning of every week in there where you can write out kind of what you plan on eating throughout the week.
Right. Okay.
So that's really huge for me too. So yeah, just planning ahead.
Yeah. And so that by getting it down in the Fit book, you get, and having your grocery lists. I find, I mean, in my experience, because my background before I did my protein bar company, it was I was basically nutrition, weight loss programs online. I was helping people. And when I developed an app, the grocery list thing was overwhelming. Like comments like, I need this so bad, because you go and I mean, and if I'm not prepared, I still do it. I walk through with my wife and I going through shopping. I'm like, just kind of picking things here and there. You end up spending more and it doesn't all mesh. So yeah.
It doesn't. And then you get home and you're like, oh, I need a cilantro for this and I don't have it. I keep the list in my junk drawer and throughout the week, as I'm like, oh, low on cinnamon, I go and write it down right then. So it's on there.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, your food, on your website, on the Instagram, looking at it, I mean, it looks so amazing. What did you have a background being a chef or any training in cooking? It looks fantastic.
Thank you. No, I have a background in curiosity,
which takes you a long way. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. And figuring out okay, this, how can I make this better? How can I figure out how to do that? It can't be that difficult. And really just trial and error and learning.
Yeah.
So, picking up books on food styling and food photography and I've always cooked ever since I was a little kid. So obviously
it's huge. You can't and you can't replace that. The passion for something, will outdo a lot of times any kind of formal training or whatever, because this is what you do it. This is what you live. I mean, you love to do it. So
people have degrees that they've never really used in their lives.
Right, yeah.
That's their formal training, but they're like, they never used it.
Yeah.
But it's the school of life.
I know. Yeah. And now you're experimenting. What was that?
You can learn so much now just from books, from
absolutely
YouTube, the internet. It's awesome.
Well, education now is changing so much because of that. I mean, you can really, I was listening to somebody the other day and they were saying basically if you listen to things as you drive in a car, as you work out or you do things, you can get basically a PhD in any topic you want in a couple of years by just listening to podcasts and free material.
That's my new obsession.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to start listening to this one.
Okay. Well, at least listen to yours.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I definitely will.
Oh, no, that's great. No, but you can learn so much. So that's great. I love it. I love that you, and now the experience. So that started. So you had your mom as a dietitian. You had that foundation. Mm-hmm. You had your son who had, you ran into issues early on, and that kind of formed your philosophy in nutrition, correct? I mean, that's
right.
Those two pieces are the big things that I heard you say.
Yes. Yeah. It's definitely, I think through every new phase of my life, it's kind of, it's like an onion, there are more layers.
Right. Yeah.
There gets more complexity because
right.
Something that might have worked for you. I mean, I'm actually going through this right now, kind of where I'm in a place of, I don't know, shifting or adding another layer.
Yeah.
But what worked for someone when they're 20,
right,
especially as a woman, might not work at 35. Right. Now here I am at 35. And for the first time, I'm dealing with, okay, wait a second. I've gained 5 or 10 pounds inexplicably in the last couple months. What's going on? So now I'm having to go back and learn more about that.
Right.
And I think that's an issue a lot of women have. And everyone will tell you, oh, you're 35 now. That's just what happens. I'm like, no, that's not just what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So now it's a whole new, I don't know everything. No one knows everything.
Right.
And everyone's different. Everyone's background is different. And, body is different and metabolism.
Absolutely.
environmental factors. Like there's so many different things.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah.
And it's really cool to learn like all of these things that you can constantly kind of tweak and figure out.
And you can't there's no cookie cutter approach to either nutrition and exercise and all that. It is very specialized. So you have to be your own biggest advocate like you are and learning it and diving into it. That's how you're going to get to where you want. And you're right. I mean, a lot of people do say, well, that's just what happens like at 35 or 40, whatever age, but it does happen if you're not proactive about it.
Yeah.
And you, like you said, you're going to figure it out. You're going to experience, and then you're going to be able to help a whole nother group of people.
Exactly.
Which is awesome.
And that's my goal. Because it was something where initially I'm like, cool, I'm a healthy food blogger. That's my job. I'm going to come out and be like, guess what, everyone? I gained 5 pounds. I'll be like clamoring to make my food after that. But I mean, I think it is. I think ultimately it's something that I've just have had to swallow my pride and get over it and be like, yeah, this isn't awesome to say. And I know to some people it might be like 5-10 pounds, whatever. Like that's, you're still a size 4 instead of size 2. Ooh. But when it's your body, you know what you feel comfortable with and what you don't. And so it's one of those things where I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. I know how to eat right. I know how to exercise, So it's not even going to just be as simple as like eating the right things and exercising every day. Sometimes there's something else you have to add in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
right. And
so that's where I am right now.
That's exciting.
So now it's a new frontier to conquer.
And you did, and going back, that new frontier, you had that, having children brings up a whole new. What success? Because I have 2 kids and I'm very into
you look
nutrition.
Great for having 2 kids.
It was really, the pregnancy was very easy for me. But it's a challenge nourishing them the right way because the influences on kids like at school and like eat this. And so have you found what success have you had in, because you have healthy young boys that are growing, eating a lot, for the mom trying to figure out how to do what you do, but also bring in the family and all that. What success what keys to success have you found?
Okay. For me, and I never want to sound like somebody who's like judgy.
Right.
But it does drive me a little crazy when I hear parents say things like, oh, well, my kid would never eat that. So, I'm just going to make him something else.
Yeah.
I just want to be like, I know it's hard. I know it is. I know that it's the end of the day. You don't want to deal with any more screaming, all that. I know that. But for me, I grew up obviously eating what my mom made, what everyone ate.
Yeah.
That's how I grew up. Yeah. I grew up going to restaurants. We weren't allowed to have a children's menu. We needed to order from the adult menu.
Yeah.
And I think those are little things that it's crazy because sometimes people just kind of think, because that's the way it is, they think almost that kids can't eat certain things. Yeah. Like, it's weird.
It's a choice.
Your kids can eat fish. And I'm like, they can eat whatever. I mean, aside obviously from the things like they shouldn't have honey for the first year, all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And food allergies. Yeah. They can eat anything you eat.
Yes.
And so I think just kind of realizing that, if you really it really actually just like blows your world wide open. I mean, because they just eat a smaller amount, like literally
it's the same.
Dinner, and then give them a small amount of what you're giving yourself.
Absolutely.
And my kids are not perfect. They have their weird little things, their little idiosyncrasies. Oh, that banana has a bruise. I'm not going to eat it. But for the most part, they are amazing eaters because we've just done that simple thing. And really, in reality, it's less work for me.
Oh, yeah.
To just give them what I'm making instead of just going, okay, now I have to make some chicken nuggets for you.
Right.
And knowing that, knowing what it would be doing to their bodies if I did that.
Right.
If I just kind of stopped and got them fast food every day or made them chicken nuggets or whatever. Not that there's anything, wrong with having that stuff every now and then. I'm pretty strict about it. I lie to my children and tell them that fast food is made with boogers, so they won't. But,
hey, whatever works. That's great.
So they never ask for it. So, but yeah, it's honestly just, you're going to eat what we eat. I give them small amounts to start with. And that way, if they're being a pain that night and they're like, no, I'm not going to eat this.
Yeah. That's what you get. Yeah. That's what you get.
And they've had many a night where they just go to bed and they don't have anything to eat.
Yeah.
People freak out about that, but I might have like CPS knocking at my door a little bit, but they're fine. They're great. They're perfect.
And it's like any other behavior. You're training them to become little adults and then humans and you control that. Like I had another guest that I interviewed and said the same philosophy as yours. I love it. Love to hear that and she said, well, you're also, you're doing this, you're shopping. So the parents are the ones shopping. So we have complete control. It's like, they keep eating all these treats. I'm like, why are they in the house?
Exactly. What are they taking their piggy banks down to the grocery store by themselves and picking it? Like, no, it's just like you can control right now their clothes. Like you can control their food, and you only have so long you can really do that.
That's right.
You need to instill those habits now, and it's never too late to start either, though. It's going to be harder the later you start.
Yep.
But it really, I see so many kids who they constantly have runny noses or they constantly are sick or, and then I find out that they're constantly just eating, sugary cereals or all they drink is like juice and milk or just constantly no water. And there are just so many little things you can do,
I've been studying food allergies recently for me personally, and just because of my business, and that happens at a young age where they have these all these impure foods, and they get massive doses of them, and then all of a sudden they're allergic to this, they have a cold 6 months out of the year. I mean, it's just, and it's really environment controlled. I mean, you can eat, you can control that. I mean, you really can. You can minimize.
And I feel like if parents knew all of this, because so much of it is just a lack of knowledge. You don't understand, you don't realize. And so many foods are made differently now than they used to be.
I know.
So I get a lot of flack from some friends or some people who are like, whatever. Okay. No soda, lighten up. But I mean, this is, in my opinion, the biggest job that I have as their parent is giving them a good foundation, a solid foundation. So aside from teaching them to be gentlemen,
that's right.
I need to teach them how to treat themselves properly, how to take care of themselves. And I am so proud when we walk down the cereal aisle, and it's like a little kind of like food snob moment, but when I'll see like other kids like, mommy, I want Pop-Tarts and I want Fruit Loops and blah, blah, blah. And mine are looking, and they'll look at me and they'll go, that has GMOs in it.
Or boogers, whatever.
That's fast food. So.
No, right. Yeah, but you can use that for other, other things. That's a good one. I mean, that's a good one. I like that. But no, that's great that you're training them at a young age to notice these things. That
I'm brainwashing them from birth.
Right, but GMO. I mean, that's this is genetic, and they may not get it totally yet, but they will. I mean, this is genetically altered stuff. This isn't how this wasn't how it was created. So what's going?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's great. That's really neat. Yeah. So let's talk about and finishing up with. I always like to end with like just one takeaway. And since we're on this, let's say you have this. You have a mom or a dad that's controlling most of the food and for the family. What's one like key step they can take to start bringing the family into a healthier eating patterns?
Probably my biggest thing would be cook at home.
Cook at home. Yeah.
A lot of families, which I totally get it. Everyone's busy now. A lot of the time, both mom and dad are working.
Right.
and if that's the case, especially if you have kids who are maybe 7, 8 years old,
right.
They can actually do a lot too to help in the kitchen.
Absolutely.
And people don't realize that. My 8-year-old uses a chef's knife, and people would be like, what? But I've taught him how to use it. He knows how to be safe with it. And I mean, I'm not letting him use it when I'm not with him, but cooking at home, huge. You don't know what all is in the things that you're picking up, takeout or whatever. And I think that's great for your health. It's great for you as a family.
Absolutely.
To sit down together and eat something that you cooked together. That, and another thing that's, to me, is such a simple thing to do that drives me crazy. I don't know if it's as bad in California, but down in the South with the soda and the
sweet tea. Yes.
And I see it, just people's carts loaded up with it at the grocery store. And that's another, just get that out of your house.
Yeah.
No more soda, no more sweet tea.
Right.
Water. If you need some flavor in the water, squeeze some lemon or something.
Right.
And I tell a lot of people, I've gotten my mom to do this. If you're a big soda fanatic, switch to kombucha.
Right.
There's actually a brand of kombucha called Live.
Okay.
That all of their flavors are like soda flavors.
That's neat. That's
they
pretty
have
cool.
A cola one. They have a root beer one. I think like an orange soda one.
Yeah.
They have like a Sprite one. All these different ones, and it's definitely the most soda-like that I've tasted.
Okay. So it's Live. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna check.
So I'm like, that can be your soda a day.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like instead of a soda, have a kombucha.
Yeah, instead of liquid sugar, have something that's going to help your digestive tract, help your health-wise. Exactly. Yeah. I love that.
And it'll replace, because I get some people, it's not even about the drink. It's kind of just about the habit, kind of like coffee or something.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. Yeah.
Why not replace it with something?
Yeah. That's a great idea. So really it's replacing that's a big, especially in the South. And it's here. I mean, Santa Barbara is a very healthy place where I live, but there's still, soda is still, especially in my kids, people around my kids not at school, but their friends, they go to places, it's always soda and sugary drinks. And but get rid of that. And then really cooking at home, but taking it a step further, cooking at home as a family, which I really like you saying that, because we just started implementing, kids are part of, we haven't gone far enough we need to do dinner too, but we've been doing breakfast and our lunch. We always make our lunches at home. We don't have them eat school lunches because you don't know what's in them. Yeah. So they're starting to do all that, which is great. And I think, and I like to take a step further would be cooking at home and do it as a family. Why not? Yeah.
They love it. And that's another way to get kids who might be a little pickier, hesitant to, try certain things. It sounds cliche, but it actually works. The more you involve kids in the process, the more they will want to try the things that they've helped prepare. Yeah. My 4-year-old loves hulling strawberries. We have a little play gadget that hulls strawberries. He loves that thing. He will hull strawberries all day long, and that helps me because I don't have to.
Right.
And that helps with food prep, and they are so awesome with food now because this foundation is being laid for them.
Yes. It's a life. Yeah.
All of that. They love doing all that stuff.
And what a great foundation with their health, their nutrition, to have that foundation at that age. That's great. And everybody, and you said it earlier, you're not being judgmental at all. It's like, this is available to everybody and anybody. It may take baby steps, you start, cooking at home and then removing the sugary drinks or replacing them with something.
That also does not mean replacing sugar soda with diet soda.
Right.
That's not any better.
No, it's not.
I want to make that
It
clear.
is not better. Right. Yeah.
Take the soda out entirely.
Yeah. And replace it with something. And you can find, there's plenty of alternatives. If for kids, it might not be kombucha, maybe, but it could be, there's so many different alternatives. I mean,
for kombucha. So I'll give them
that's awesome.
sip. I'll give them each one little sip. They bring me this little tiny shot.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So
that's great. That's awesome. That's perfect. And like LaCroix, the sparkling water, there's things that are out that our kids have, that's their soda, that's what they drink.
And like there's another one I like called Hint water. I don't think it's sparkly. They might have a sparkly one too now.
Hint's great.
But it's just, it's no sugar or anything. It's just like a little hint of, it's so aptly named, but I
know it's very nice.
And it doesn't have to be something that costs a lot. You can do it yourself. Like you can just, there's so many different ways to spruce that up. Well, this has been fantastic. I'm inspired because I can't wait. I'm going to get home and tonight our kids are going to make dinner. No, we're going to do it together. Do something, cut something up, carrots or whatever. Yeah. But I really appreciate Katy. This has been a great interview. I've learned a lot. I know people listening have learned a lot. I just thank you for your time and I thank you for your passion for what you do. Thank you for having me and thank you for your passion.
Thank you. Oh, I'm glad I have this platform to share information like you have for us. So I'm excited. Thank you.
I can't wait to try your bars.
Then they're coming. They're coming. Okay. All right. Well, thanks and have a great day, Katy.
You too. Bye.